Tonight we're going to be looking at global warming. We're going to talk to you a bit about greenhouse gases, what they do and what they are.
Greenhouse gases make the Earth hotter than it needs to be. The atmosphere doesn't help at all with that, since it takes in all the CO2, methane and most of the sun and solar radiation. The most notable greenhouse gas is methane.
In a recent survey conducted on the school website, we asked you, third row, right there, hello, we asked you what steps you took to help reduce climate change. One of the questions was asking you how you travelled to work/school. As you can see, the majority of people, 67% to be precise, travel via a petrol or diesel car. This contributes significantly to climate change, as the burning of fossil fuels which powers the car releases CO2 and greenhouse gas into the atmosphere. We also asked how long people have the heating on for daily. This also contributes, as heat is provided by electricity, which most commonly is provided through the burning of fossil fuels. The majority of people, 32%, said they kept the heating on 5 to 6 hours a day. We also asked what other steps people took. We discovered that 38 people, 95% of those who took part, said they turned off the lights when not as used, which is a very cheap, easy and convenient way to help reduce climate change and also to cut down electricity bills. However, only 20% of people said they have solar panels, which produce clean renewable energy from the power of the sun. While it may seem irrelevant, we also asked which meat people ate the most commonly. We discovered that 74%, nearly 3/4 of people, ate chicken most commonly, followed by only 10% eating fish most commonly, and then beef, shellfish and no meat. We also asked how commonly people ate meat. Found the most common results were 4 days a week and 6 days a week. You may be wondering what all this has to do with climate change. Well, you see, meat comes from animals. When animals fluctuate, they produce methane, the greenhouse gas. We're now going to learn more about methane.
This is a cow. Cows produce methane. Cam is now going to explain to you more about methane.
Methane is a chemical compound with a chemical formula of CH4, meaning that it's composed of one carbon atom and 4 hydrogen atoms. It's also a greenhouse gas. Greenhouse gases trap the sun's rays in the atmosphere and heat the planet up like a greenhouse in a garden. It is mainly produced by cows. It is also found in the atmosphere, known as atmospheric methane.
As you can see at the top of this diagram, there is a cow. When trees are cut down to make room for cows, that releases carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. Carbon dioxide, along with methane, is greenhouse gas, and greenhouse gases lead to climate change.
Emissions. Emissions, which can be known as a gas in the atmosphere, also known as global warming, are mainly made up of CO2, carbon dioxide and methane. This leads to things like global warming, as the greenhouse gases block the sun's rays from escaping the Earth's atmosphere. So the greenhouse gases act as a bit of a wall, so once the sun's heat has hit the Earth's atmosphere, it cannot escape again. This leads to things like the melting of the polar ice caps, heavy rainfall, an unnatural amount of sea level rise, and electric heat.
Carbon dioxide is a gas vital to life on Earth. It is composed of a carbon atom covalently double bonded to 2 oxygen atoms. This graph here shows the CO2 levels over the last 650,000 years. As you can see, the CO2 levels have increased very dramatically.
We're now going to take a look at a graph, which is going to show you a temperature anomaly, or that was what it was seen as at the time. As you can see here, from 1400 to 1600, although the graph changed slightly, it was still in the same temperature range. From here, you can see from 1400 through to 1800, and although this was the time of the Industrial Revolution, during the 1700s through to the 1800s roughly, you can see that there was not really anything on the lower range of the scale. It was more higher range on the scale. Proceeding through to 900, the time after the Industrial Revolution, you can see that temperature temperature levels dropped slightly from what they was during the Industrial Revolution, but still never hit completely low. Now let's take a look at the anomaly. We now know it as global warming. The black represents the temperature increasing as dramatically as it has. On this diagram in 2007, the temperature is only just above 0.5 degrees. Currently, we're above 1 degree, which is not even on this chart. We're having meetings currently in different countries to try and stop us before we do something drastic to the world. I never knew how much a picture could portray before I started XP. Now, I can see, just from looking at these pictures, what you actually can do and show through it. Here we can see just how we are the ones destroying the earth and then acting like nothing's happening. I know people who are too afraid to have children because of what we're doing to the earth. What sort of race are we if we're too scared to bring life into this world because of something we've done? Yet, some people still choose to believe that global warming is a myth, merely a lie made up by a scientist. But we are the ones with open eyes, and so our aim tonight is to help open the eyes of you, and so you can then help us to save the world.
What is going on now? First we're going to talk about the Paris talks, which will be going on from 30th of November to 11th of December. And the goal of these Paris talks was to find a solution for climate change. But first, here's a quiz.
Right, so when do you think that this photo was taken? A. 1920, B. 2006, C. 2015, or D. 2003? Okay. Correct. Why do you think that this picture is grey? A. Convection current, B. Air pollution, C. Fog, D. A rainy day, E. A bad camera. Yep. Well done. Can you even see this historical monument? Will future generations be able to? But more importantly, will future generations even exist?
With the Paris talks over the past 2 weeks, things are slowly starting to change, or are they? With countries such as China still burning coal as it is a cheaper alternative to biomass, this releases NOx gases into the air, which can thicken the atmosphere and reduce air quality. Behind me are two images. One of a 55-year-old's lung from New Delhi, the other a 52-year-old's lung from Beijing. The air pollution there is so bad that they are on the sector red warning already, meaning shops and businesses all over the country are having to close. In fact, it's so bad that it's not only damaging the earth, but us as well, to the extent that even young children are having to wear smog masks for their own protection. So what has been done? The end product of COP21 was a climate change deal, which consisted of 3 promises. The first promise being a meeting every 5 years to track each country's progress. The second promise being the promise that global emissions would peak as soon as possible. And the third promise was the promise that global temperature would stay below a 2-degree rising point. However, last week, Canada announced that they will be keeping their temperature to a 1.5-degree rise limit. This has set the standards for other countries, and they are leading the way in reducing global emissions.
The atmosphere of the Earth is mostly made of nitrogen. It also contains oxygen, used by most organisms for breathing, and the atmosphere also contains carbon dioxide used by plants.
You actually know what we are doing to the world every day? We are putting life itself out of balance by disrupting many natural cycles and levels of gases. But the power station, called Drax, is leading the way to our next generation and even our futures exist.
Drax is a multi-million-pound corporation that provides power to hundreds of thousands of people. They focus on providing carbon-neutral, renewable energy. Currently, they have 6 units, 3 of which use biomass, which is renewable. and they hope to replace other coal-burning units in the future. The reason why they can't currently is because they don't get enough funding from the government. So ultimately, it's the government's decision whether we convert to renewable resources. Biomass is made from parts of trees and parts of plants, like traditional wood power. You can get different types of biomass pellets, for example, wood pellets.
The reason why most governments are inclined to use coal power is because it's cheap, reliable and easy to store. The downsides of coal are that it is a contributing factor to global warming and it isn't renewable, while biomass is fully renewable energy. But it's harder to store because if it gets wet, it will not burn. Biomass also costs more, but it's carbon neutral, so that means in the long run it won't kill us.
Isn't it amazing? Our world has been around for about 4.6 billion years, and it's the only planet in the whole solar system we know life exists to this day. Yet we go to the extra lengths of destroying it. The Lake District, just one of the victims to global warming. This is the Lake District the other day. Where can we go now? People actually live there. What will their Christmas be like? This is the polar ice caps. Certain animals live here because it's their only habitat they can live in. This is the polar ice caps the other day. Where will the animals be able to live? There's no other habitat like it. This is China, a tourist place and a home. Thousands of people come here every day. This is China. Where will the people be able to live? Because they'll have to migrate to other countries if it gets too bad. This is the rainforest. Will this be a victim to global warming? 10 million species live in the rainforest, and there's many in the polar ice caps. So where will they live when it gets destroyed?
This is a chart about China's pollution levels in 2014. As you can see, Shenzhen is at the top with 133.4 particle matter is solid and liquid droplets in the air, in the atmosphere. The capital of China, Beijing, is a lot lower than Shenzhen.
China consumes more coal than it produces, as is shown here in the graph. The graph shows China's consumption and production of coal from 1993 to 2014. It also shows how scientists forecast the consumption and production to increase over 2015 to 2016. It shows here that the consumption, they believe, would increase by quite a lot, whereas the production would stay in relatively the same area. This means that the balance is uneven.
Hello everybody. Over the course of the evening we have realised that global warming is not a myth, not a mad idea to scare people, but a horrifying reality. Previous generations have ignored this problem, in effect making it worse, so we are here now to sort this out. In class we've been learning about climate change, and we're here to share our knowledge with you and show how you can make a difference. The expedition is called Life in Balance. Our guiding question is, why is balance important in nature? In my opinion, balance is important in nature because without balance nothing would be the same because it would be unequal.
As you already know, global CO2 levels have risen massively over the past 60 years due to new technology and modern lifestyle. Our wasteful use of electricity is a major factor, along with excessive consumerism. To try and combat this, we at Skipper have come up with 5 pledges, 5 simple pledges that you can do on a daily basis.
Our first pledge is to do with television. How many of you forget to turn the TV off when going out or go to have dinner? This could use 100 watts of electricity, which has to be generated by a power station. When this is generated by a power station, this may cause poisonous greenhouse gases to float into the atmosphere.
For our second pledge, we'd like you to try and use natural light during the day when it's bright, instead of using lamps and lights, because this means that power stations will use less electricity to produce, which helps save energy. Plus, natural light is 50% more effective than electric light.
For our fourth pledge, we would like you to try and use an eco-friendly transport. For example, cycling and walking. Cars and trucks account up for 1/5 of UA's emissions. So imagine how much we could save if we work together, otherwise the world may end. The pollution emitted by the cars thickens the atmosphere, meaning that more greenhouse gases are trapped to heat up the earth. Recycling is hopefully something that most of you do already. Because of overpopulation, increasing pressure is being placed on the Earth's natural resources. Recycling means that products can be reused and made into new items, reducing the strain on the planet.
Livestock is the largest producer of methane, a toxic greenhouse gas. It is also harmful to the earth because vast amounts of rainforest are being cut down to make room for cattle to graze. In the last 10 years alone, an area the size of Portugal has been deforested. This is harmful because vegetation soaks up the greenhouse gases, and if we continue chopping down trees, we're going to be in deep trouble. If you're a vegetarian for at least a couple of nights a week, this would help.
The way that we eat meat in England has gone too far. We feed our cattle enough to supply the caloric needs to 8.7 billion people. That would stop starvation to the approximate 925 million people starving in the world today. Think about it. XP students' generation could be the last living on this earth. 50% of the food we plant goes to feeding our animals. So we propose a challenge. Take part in one of our challenges and cut down eating meat. The Bronze Challenge. In the Bronze Challenge, be vegetarian for a day. I know it doesn't sound like much, but it would make a change. So try the Bronze Challenge. The Silver Challenge. Try this challenge and make a big difference. Be a vegetarian for a week. The Gold Challenge, the hardest one. Become a vegetarian for a month. We recommend that you start these challenges in January. You can find a range of vegetarian meals on the BBC Good Food website.
So those are our 5 pledges, 5 simple things that we need you to do to help make a difference. Because remember, climate change isn't something that could happen in the future if we aren't careful enough. It's something that is happening now. Something that will be the end of our world if we all don't take action and do everything we can to stop it. Because everybody's little bit will make a difference. If it's trying to walk to work instead of going by car, or trying to turn the television on when we leave the room. Tonight, we need you to be our heroes and help us save the planet.
If the world was a piece of paper and we crunched it up, it'd be impossible to unfreeze. This is like what we're doing to our world. We crease it, we can't uncrease it.